השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, עוד היא לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, עוד היא לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. ביני ובין בני ישראל, עוד היא לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, עוד היא לעולם. טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, לשמך העליון. ולזמר, ולזמר לשמך העליון. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך, בלילות, בלילות. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. ולזמר לשמך העליון, לשמך העליון. ולזמר, ולזמר לשמך העליון. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני.
Shabbat.
Ladonai,
Ladonai,
Kol haaretz. Let the heavens rejoice.
Let the heavens rejoice.
And the earth exult.
And the earth exalt.
Let the sea go within it thunder. Sing to Adonai.
Sing to Adonai.
A brand new song.
A brand new song.
Sing praises for all God's wonders. Shiru,
Shiru,
Adonai,
Adonai,
Shiru,
Shiru,
Shir Chadash,
Shir Hadash,
Shiru,
Shiru,
Adonai,
Adonai,
Kol haaretz.
Haaretz.
Let every voice
Let every
make a
voice
joyful noise
make a joyful noise
to God's glory among the nations. With the rivers and trees,
With the rivers and trees,
we clap our hands.
we clap our hands.
Magnificent celebration. Shiru,
Shiru,
Adonai,
Adonai,
Shiru,
Shiru,
Shir Chadash,
Shir Hadash,
Shiru,
Shiru,
Adonai,
Adonai,
Kol haaretz.
Haaretz. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I want to welcome the Miller family, who is a very exciting Shabbat weekend ahead as we celebrate Levi's bar mitzvah tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. I wanted to share just a really touching story that was shared by a family member with me today. Is it pronounced Lyon, France? Is that the name of the town, Lyon? Okay, so this is about the Great Synagogue in Lyon, France, and it was built in 1864 to accommodate the Jewish community, which was growing fairly rapidly. And this very beautiful Neo-Byzantine building was designed by noted architect Abraham Hirsch. So in 1940, when the Germans marched into Paris, Lyon was considered this free France zone, and the Great Synagogue actually stayed open. Even after Lyon was occupied in 1942, a small but brave group of Jews kept the shul open. But on December 10th, 1943, the iconic house of worship was targeted for destruction by the fascist French police force that was modeled after the notorious German Gestapo. The synagogue's rabbi was witness to what happened that Friday night. A member of this French police force entered the sanctuary right after the start of Shabbat, armed with 3 powerful hand grenades. His plan was to toss them into the crowd of standing worshipers from behind and escape through the back of the sanctuary. Seen only by the rabbi, the Nazi pulled out the pins and then suddenly froze. At the moment he prepared to throw the grenades, the entire congregation turned to face him. Eye to eye with his intended victims, the would-be assailant was so rattled that he tossed the grenades just a few feet, then ran out of the building. A few people were in fact wounded by shrapnel, but nobody was killed. So what happened at that pivotal moment? This Nazi had entered the synagogue at exactly the section of the Friday night service when the congregation was singing Lecha Dodi, when they rose for Bo'oi Shalom to face the doors. And when the worshipers turned toward the back of the sanctuary to welcome the Shabbat bride, this police officer could not go through with the massacre because seeing the faces of his victims meant seeing their humanity. Genocide starts with dehumanization and ends when we look at other humans and we see the face of God. And Shabbat is a reminder to all of us to pause and to look into the eyes and the faces of others we encounter and to see the face of God. So with that, we welcome Levi to come and bring his family with him to light Shabbat candles this evening.
asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, creator of the universe, creator of the universe. By your commandments we are sanctified as we kindle the lights of Shabbat. Amen.
All right, we're going to leave the candle below, and we'll have a tiered approach to Shabbat candles this evening. Thank you to the Miller family and to Marion. We'll continue welcoming in Shabbat with the words of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Going to invite Levi to come on back and join us as we all rise together for the words of Hatzi Kaddish. Page 106.
Yekara v'yekara shamei rabba. Be'alma divra kirute, v'yam lif malchute, b'chachom uv'yom echon, uv'kayedeko beit Yisrael. Bagala uv'izman kariv, v'imaru, amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach, le'olam le'omaya, yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yish tavak, v'yitbar v'yitroma, v'yitnase, v'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalo, shemei dekudasha, brichu, le'olam mikol birhata, v'shirata, tushbehata, v'nehemata, damiran delma, v'maru, amen.
Yalalai, yalalai, yalalalai, yalalai, yalalai, yalalalai, yalalai, yalalai, yalalalai, yalalai, yalalai, yalalalai. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamavorach, Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam vaed. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. We rise and offer up our prayers to you. Praise Adonai, one and all. We stand before you in our call to worship. Yalalai, yalalai, yalalai,
invite you to please be seated as we continue. I think this is Lisa's version. Is this your version of Mari Varvimu?
It is. With the setting of the sun, you separate the light from the darkness. We praise you, Adonai, creator of the moon and stars. And as the evening falls, we trust that day and night are equal partners. We thank you for the day and rest in the tranquility of night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhma bateach she'arim, ubitfuna mishaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim umisader et hakochavim, במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו, ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. Shema Yisrael, Israel, can you hear me? Adonai is our God, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, bless the holy name, praise Adonai forever, Leolam Vaed, and love God with all you've got inside you. Love God with all your heart and mind, 'cause Adonai is always there to guide you. Give God your love morning, noon, and night. Shema Yisrael, Israel, can you hear me? Adonai is our God, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, bless the holy name, praise Adonai forever, Leolam Vaed.
We continue as Levi leads us in chanting the words of Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אלוהים מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ובשרתם מלוד עד ידך והיו תותפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות להם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
So it happened that when the people of Israel left Egypt, God sought to impress them with a miracle so spectacular that no one who experienced it would ever doubt God's power or God's providence again. And so God caused the waters of the Red Sea to part, letting the Israelites pass through safely and releasing the waters to drown the Egyptian pursuers. Once safely across the sea, the people were suitably impressed, and they sang God's praise, pledging their undying loyalty. Mi chamocha ba'alim Adonai, who could it all ever be like you? And God's plan worked for about 48 hours. By the third day after the crossing, the people were hot, they were tired, they were very thirsty. They complained to Moses about the lack of food and water and wondered why they ever let themselves in for this in the first place. And God realized that no matter how impressive a miracle might be, it does not solve the problem of faith for more than a day or two, any more than the finest meal saves the problem of being hungry for very long. A few small experiences of the meaningfulness of life every day will do more for our souls than a single overwhelming religious experience. Please join us.
קיים לפני משה, מלכותך ראו בניך, קיים לפני משה. צאלי, עלו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורתי לו, אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. ידה די 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 די, ידה די 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 די, ידה די 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 די, ידה די 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 די.
We like to pause, and it's Shabbat. It's about pausing. And just to reflect for a moment on some of the positive and good things happening in our lives. And if you don't have one that you can think of on the Shabbat, others may share something that brings a little joy to yours. So does anybody have something great that happened this week or positive they want to share with us? Levi, what do you got? Yeah, I think that's a pretty big one. I would say from what we've seen so far, you're going to be great. You're going to be great. You're very well prepared. I can't take any of the credit. I think I only met with you twice, but Rabbi Flip did a good job. But I'll take the credit. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Other great things. You don't have to compete with the bar mitzvah. Yes?
Last day of school was today.
Whoop, whoop. Last day of school. Very exciting. Congratulations. Welcome to summer. The heat is joining you, so it's here. Absolutely, I know. Very happy. Yes, Anna Jean. Jay, happy birthday. 25, 26, something like that, right? Well, we're glad you're here, and happy birthday. Very nice. Other celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries, and a school, quit your job, you're happy about it. What could it be? You retired.
Had a visit with my youngest granddaughter in England.
That's That's nice. Very nice. In fact, that lets me let everybody know that we're having what we're calling Grandparent Shabbat on June 10th, because we have so many people who have moved to Nashville because they have grandkids here that we want to celebrate all those families. So you don't have to have grandchildren to come that Friday night, but if you do, we'll celebrate. Yes, pop up, Tom.
Well, my grandson got a job at camp, which means I get my car back.
Yeah. This is true. Thank you for lending us your car. Grandparents are the best, aren't they? We need a car. Any other celebrations? Yes.
Yeah, that's where we get the double celebration.
Leia is graduating and has an athletic scholarship, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, pretty cool. It's very exciting. Anything else? These are all good things. I mean, I see Anne, her son's starting medical school. She can share that. I know lots of things about you that you're not sharing. All right, well, these are all good things to celebrate. We ask for continued wholeness, peace, and goodness for our whole community.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha v'hoshienu l'man shemecha. Help us to know that you're near, that your presence is here. Let us lie down in peace every night, and when we rise in the day, keep us sheltered, we pray. Guide us, God, with your love and your light. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
It's been since January of 2020 since I've been in the land of Israel. We all know that in March of 2020, the world shut down. I have not had a chance yet to go back, although I look forward to it. And we had a congregational trip of one kind or another that usually went every 18 to 24 months. So we've got some things planned in the works that we're hoping the world will stay healthy for. But I love this picture because it reminds me that all of this that we inherit in the Jewish tradition, it really means nothing if we don't take an active role in appreciating it and claiming it as our own. And that's a different way to think about mitzvot, of commandments. I think we're so accustomed as sort of Americans with this value placed on autonomy, and as Reformed Jews with a value placed on autonomy of saying, no one can command me to do anything. I get to choose for myself. But it's more about privilege that then brings with it responsibility, right? We have this gift in the land of Israel, and for those of you who've been to Jerusalem, you know it's this like magical meeting place of so many religious traditions. That, you know, Shabbat is another example of that. It's this gift that's given to us to really just pause and take a breath and reconstitute ourselves for the week to come. And if we don't do that, and the Torah actually says, if you don't observe Shabbat, mot yumat, the Hebrew is, you shall surely die. And you could look at it as this sort of punitive punishment from God, but I see it more as, God, if we don't pause and just take a breath and recalibrate, we're just not going to make it very far. Mochumat, we will surely perish. So B'Shamru is a prayer that reminds us of this covenant, of this privilege and responsibility.
B'Shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asos et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rit olam, a day of restoration, a cleansing of the soul, for all the broken pieces once again to be made whole, to celebrate the wonder of creation and the gift of time. Beni uvein b'nei Yisrael ori leolam, ki sheshit yamin asar onai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, a day of restoration, a cleansing of the soul, for all the broken pieces once again to be made whole, to celebrate the wonder of creation and the gift of time, a day to appreciate the sacred in our world.
Levi is going to return once again as we rise together for the words of Tefillah, the Amidah.
Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el ha'gadol ha'gibor v'hanora, El Elyon gomel chasadim tovim v'koneh hakol, v'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot, u'mevi geula lifnei v'nehem, l'ma'an shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah, Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol ata rav lehoshia, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol barachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofech cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishene afar, Chamocha bal kivurot, Umido melach, Melach meimit u'mechayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol, Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalalucha salah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please take these next few moments for your own silent prayer, and you're welcome to find your seat when you're ready.
say Adonai Eloheinu Ba'amcha Yisrael U'tefilatam Be'ahava tikabel. In our praise and in our prayer, may we know you everywhere. Oh Adonai, oh Adonai. And when troubles cloud our mind, may there be new strength we find. And in everything we do, may we be closer to you. But say Adonai Eloheinu Be'amcha Yisrael U'tefilatam Ba'ahava tikabel. Be'ahava tikabel.
We think about those in need of healing on this Shabbat. And I mentioned the Sloan family, B.B. Weinstein, Wayne Ritt. Please share the names of those you are thinking of as my hand moves around the room. I'll add George Hahn's name to that list as well.
Owen Hale, Susan Burdine, Dave Loggins.
David Rose, Alicia Safety, Eduardo Jimenez.
For the hurt of body and of soul, for the suffering and pain, as you healed the ones who came before, may you heal us just the same. Refuat hanefesh v'haguf ehona rifana. Refinu Adonai, refuah shalema. Refuat hanefesh v'haguf ehona rifana. Refinu Adonai, refuah shalema. For the hurt of body and of soul, for the suffering and pain, as you heal the ones who came before, may you heal us just the same. As you heal the ones who came before, may you heal us just the same.
If you read our Thursday Blast, or you've attended Schmooze or Women's Circle this week, then you have already been introduced to our amazing, incredibly bright and talented rabbinic intern, Lily Goldstein. Lily is about to enter her 5th year of rabbinic studies, which is the final year before she is ordained at the New York campus of the Hebrew Union College. And she is here with us for about 5 to 6 weeks till the end of June, and she will be preaching at several of our Shabbat services, including tonight. So Lily, welcome. Come on.
It's really nice to meet you all, even if it's only one way at the moment. But hopefully at some point it'll be a little bit more mutual. In October 2018, a white man opened fire in a synagogue in Pittsburgh, killing 11 Jews who were there for Shabbat services. In August 2019, another white man killed 23 shoppers at an El Paso Walmart. And last Saturday, another white man shot and killed 10 people at a Buffalo supermarket in a predominantly black part of the city. In Pittsburgh, the shooter blamed Jews for allowing immigrant invaders into the U.S. In El Paso, the shooter was motivated by the Hispanic invasion of Texas. In Buffalo, the shooter claimed to be defending himself against a culture that sought to ethnically replace my own people. Jews, immigrants, Latinx people, black people, invaders, ethnic replacers. What these devastating acts of violence have in common is that each of their perpetrators were inspired by a set of ideas today known as replacement theory, a pernicious belief that Western elites, sometimes manipulated by Jews, want to replace and disempower white Americans by replacing the current electorate with third world voters. It is a racist conspiracy theory centered on the idea that as our country becomes more diverse, white people will lose the control and authority that they're entitled to. Except they're not entitled to it. I'm not entitled to it. We're not entitled to it. In this week's Torah portion, Parshat Bahar, the Israelites learn the limits of their control as God explains the sabbatical and jubilee years. Every 6 years, the land must rest. There's no planting or harvesting or pruning, a sabbatical, a Shemitah year. And every 49 years is the Jubilee year, when all enslaved people are freed from bondage, all debts are forgiven, and all lands are returned to their original owners. What's the Torah's reason for this? We read that God explains, Ki li haaretz, for the land is mine. Ki garim v'toshavim atem imadi, and you are but strangers resident with me. The land is mine, and you are strangers in my residence. The Israelites can't operate as though they have eternal ownership over land, over debts, or disturbingly over people. Because according to the text, people aren't the owners of anything. God is. Humans are resident strangers, able to enjoy the fruits of the land, but only at the pleasure of the one who created it all. Over and over throughout our sacred texts, we're reminded of this ultimate ownership that exists beyond us. All the earth is mine, God announces in Exodus. In the book of Deuteronomy, Moses proclaims that the heavens and the heavens belong to Adonai, your God, the land and all that is on it. The psalmist teaches the earth is Adonai's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. The all-encompassing nature of these verses drive home this very point. Every last corner of the universe is divine domain. So, if God is the true owner of all this, what does that make us? The Torah may call the Israelites resident strangers, but today we might understand that to mean stewards or guardians. We're just renters. As well established or entitled as we may feel in our homes, communities, or workplaces, it's all temporary. Sefer HaChinuch, a 13th century commentary on the 613 commandments, explains that the sabbatical and jubilee years and the commandment to leave the land to God all serve to mold ethical character. According to this text, if people know that all land and property belong to God and will ultimately return to God, maybe they'll be less likely to steal, less likely to cheat others in business, and less likely to abuse their slaves. In this way, awareness of a reset button has more than just the practical implications. In the intervening 6 or 49 years between sabbaticals and jubilees, people might act in a way that creates a more just and equitable society. All of this is a lesson that the people on the darkest corners of the internet need to hear, those who have been poisoned by replacement theory, those who feel like their land or community is being taken over. Whatever sense of ownership causes them to fear and hate those who are unfamiliar to them is misplaced. None of it was ever theirs. Pushing back on the obsession with ownership and control isn't only for the sake of rejecting racist and dangerous ideas like replacement theory. Shemitah and Jubilee don't have to be about the control that we lack. They can instead open our eyes to the opportunities to be intentional, to do good and be generous with the time and possessions that we do have. Beyond the ancient land of Israel, these teachings have broad reach. They've inspired the modern-day stewardship movement, which is a perspective on environmentalism that is grounded in the belief that we are stewards of our planet, responsible for protecting and preserving our ecosystem for generations to come. They've also inspired the communal living approaches of kibbutzim in Israel and opposition to materialism. You can't take it with you, after all. And Shabbat, tonight and to tomorrow, is sort of our weekly human Shemitah, one day of rest after 6 days of effort. Shabbat is fundamentally countercultural. It's a reminder that we don't own and exploit. We rent and caretake and let rest. We get to live according to these values every week. Rabbi Nellie Altenberger, a rabbi at Adath Israel in Connecticut, crafted a beautiful interpretation of all that this temporality offers us. She teaches, as we embrace our smallness and the fact that we really don't own anything, we embrace our greatness, our ability of sharing our gifts, all of them with others. As we embrace our impermanence in the land, we embrace what is permanent, the values and the ripples that our directed actions have throughout the generations, goodness, generosity, and giving. I think that when we let go, we are actually all the richer for it. Our lands and our hearts open, not only allowing new people and new ideas in, but also creating a more just, a more nourished, and a more loving world. Shabbat Shalom.
All right, I think she can stay. Excellent. I'm going to invite you to please rise, and anybody who'd like to come forward to help open the ark doors is more than welcome on the beam at this time, so please come on down. Avery's, we're so glad you're back. I mean, we've missed you at Elenu, so you got to come, but anybody else will take too that would like to come up and be close to Torah. All right, Levi, nice.
Aleinu l'shabech l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyeh ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anaknu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
I'll ask you to remain standing as we honor those whose yortzites fall on the Shabbat. We think of Alan Frankel Foldauer, B. Copenhagen, Bonnie Drucker, Esther Ruth Chernovsky, Evelyn Eppinger Jacobs, Francis Goldsmith, Helen Farber, Henry E. Foyer, Henry Joes Sr., Ida Heller, Irvin Sonny Steinberg, Janet Reinstein Shapiro, Jerome Kramer, Louise Gershon Greenspan, Lucy Solomon, Morris Fleischman, Rebecca Lefkowitz, Richard M. Hockman, Shirley Holab, Tom Murphy, and Ida Silver. We continue to mourn for Norman Heyman, Stephen Cooper, Evelyn Richmond, Arnold Hyatt, Walter Stern, T.J. Cohen, Marvin Oakes, and Rabbi Stephen Sager. If I did not mention the name of a loved one you'd like to include for our mourners Kaddish, please do so at this time. Thank you. Thank you. Yikadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudashah b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may the memories of all our loved ones be every day for us a blessing. Together we say amen. Please be seated for a few announcements. All right, the first one is Torah study is tomorrow morning on Zoom, as always, at 9 a.m., after which this handsome guy that you saw in person tonight will become a bar mitzvah. That's in this sanctuary at 10:30. All are welcome. All right, Mahjong continues on Tuesdays at 12:30 in the social hall, and Schmooze and Views at 10:30 on Thursday mornings. This coming Thursday, we will continue our series with West End Synagogue on American Jewish identity, anti-Semitism in Israel, which is on Zoom. Rabbi Kulik and I will be in conversation with Rabbi Dr. Bradley Artson, who is the Dean and Vice President of the School of Rabbinic Studies at the American Jewish University. He has authored multiple terrific, fascinating books and is an engaging speaker and teacher, so I encourage you to join us for that session. And yes, we will be recording it, so if you have to miss it, reach out to me and I will make sure that you receive the recording. We are very excited that a week from tonight, we will be welcoming back our very own Rabbi Nikki Roberts. Nikki is, I will say, homegrown here at Congregation Micah. She was here long before I arrived on the scene, very active as a member, decided she wanted to take up a second career as a rabbi, went to rabbinic school at HUC, where all the good rabbis study, and has been serving a congregation in Australia, North Shore Temple Emmanuel, and she's the senior rabbi there, and she will be here, and she will be speaking next Friday. So Lily decided it was fair if Nikki wanted to speak next Friday, so that's what's happening. And we'll also be saying goodbye to our very own Freddie, our maintenance manager. Well, I won't say goodbye to him. I refuse. But he is moving on from his time at Congregation Micah. He loves us very much, but he has amazing opportunities that he's taking advantage of. And our new maintenance manager is a terrific gentleman by the name of Kevin Barton. So hopefully you will meet him when you are in and around the building. Have you checked out Micah's very own podcast? Season 1 of Getting to Know Jew is available now. You know that's a Rabbi Flippism. He's all about them. And these are just some of the guys who are interviewed, so you're going to want to check that out. It's great. Please like us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. And you can find more details about all of our programs on our website. Okay, next month, good stuff coming. Annual meeting, installation Shabbat, grandparents Shabbat. I'm sure other things I'm forgetting about, so just come every day and see what's happening, is what I would say. All right, we're going to make Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, b'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila, lamikrae kodesh, zecher l'tziyat, Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, inchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Shabbat.
L'chaim and Shabbat Shalom.
Ose shalom bimramavu ya.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.